You asked for it. Here's my hot take on our first year of parenting. Welcome back to After Hours. Thank you for tuning in. Following up last night's late night After Hours episode, Jersey Jerry did it in 6 hours. Like, how impressive. So if you saw the previous video that was posted, Jersey Jerry was to break Caitlin Clark's scoring record. And he was at the Barstool Gym HQ in Chicago. Had a guy rebounding for him the whole time and just knocked it out. I mean, I think it was just under 6 hours. And I thought this was going to take him days to do. Yeah, he was just kind of wet with it. I mean, he started off with threes and he hummed a lot. Like in the first 20 minutes, he had somewhere between 150 and 200, which is kind of crazy. He did it. Congrats, Jerry. We love that. On the other news on Barstool, Clemmer is doing a 100-day solitary confinement live video feed. While doing this, Dave pulled the plug on it. Dave pulled the plug. They stopped the live stream, but they are not telling Clemmer. So he is gonna do the rest of this. At the end of it, they're just gonna say, yeah, we cut it. And I mean, I saw there was like maybe 1,000 viewers or something. So I think it was just bad content. Nobody really gave a shit. So Dave just savagely pulled it. And so funny, Griff was texting me. He was like, I mean, that's kidnapping. That's glorified kidnapping. I'm sure the content from what Dave did will actually help out in the long run. But this episode, I wanted to dive into parenting. I've been thinking about this one for about a month now. I wanted to bring it to the After Hours show. Didn't know really where to begin. It's just so much to talk about in condensed form, to try to express the emotions, feelings, all the things that come with being a parent, especially first year. Let's just hit an episode with it. I'll do another episode on a specific situation or something. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but that's the baseline of this episode. So for those who don't know, myself and Emily, we had our first son, Brewer, last January 13th, 2023. It was actually on a Friday. So Friday the 13th, our little ball of terror and love all mixed into one entered this world. Since then, he is, next week going to be 14 months old, which is wild. And that's the first thing I will speak on. This is things that's hard to explain to those who aren't parents. And I'm not saying that parents belong in a whole different category or realm. It is just one of those life experiences that until you're in the midst of it, one, there's no book you can read to prepare you for it. And two, you can't explain it to someone. Like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, until you're in it. First thing is time. Time is a whole different being at this point. Time is no longer just bound by months or years or weeks, how I used to look at the world. Like, oh, what do we have this week? Okay, not a whole lot, blah, blah, blah. Time shrinks. Time in the first few months, first 2 or 3 months of having a baby, especially your first one, the window of feeding is every 3 hours, 4 hours if you're not breastfeeding. Emily breastfed for 6 months. Whole big props to my girl, because that is, anyone who breastfeeds, that is a full-time job in itself. Not only do you have to do that every 3 hours, let's say you go do something else, like you go back to your job or whatever, you have to pump every third hour. You are doing this, or I guess honestly 2.5, you have to pump and prepare for the next feed. That in itself, I can't imagine having to do that, but I know what it's like to be involved with that, and it's 3 hour windows every day, so time shrinks tremendously. You're not thinking about what's tomorrow. You're thinking about, all right, I've got this feed, and then in 3 more hours I'll have to feed again, and in the midst you're changing diapers, or you're just trying to learn your baby. And like in the first month, it's cool because they do a lot of sleeping, sporadic sleeping, so you have a terrible sleep schedule, but it is at least sleep throughout the day. So a lot of the times, first couple months, me and Emily would go mid-afternoon, hit our favorite Mexican restaurant, bring him, he would just sleep in the stroll, and we get afternoon margaritas, because it's like, all right, we need a little something to look forward to today to kind of get us out of the house. That's a big thing. I would say one great piece of advice for me was, one point during the day, each of you leave the house, get out. If it's a walk, if it's a drive, it's just a little bit of a separation to bring you back into your responsibilities and what you got to do to keep a baby alive. All the things that come with that. That was huge. Definitely one that I held to heart, or tried to at least, and it just helps. There's a certain sense of separation that happens when you go to work, or when when I used to leave town and come back, like I missed Emily so much that it allowed me to focus on the value of our relationship and our time together. And a lot of times when you spend every waking moment with someone, it's hard to remember those things. That's a big one. Time, for sure, is completely changed. Along with time, that's the kicker that honestly did not hit me until about 8 or 10 months into him being alive, is there is no such thing as downtime anymore. You get your downtime when you have someone else watching, which is another thing. Make sure you kind of let that rope leash go, like let your parents watch them, whatever, just so that way you have a backup plan, or if you need to have a date night or something, you have an option that you don't have to constantly think about the baby. And that's the reality of it, is like the downtime. I literally mean like you don't have time to think for yourself or do things for yourself. Even when working or doing other activities, even if I go golf or whatever, the entire time I'm thinking, how's Emily? How's Brewer? Are they okay? Do I need to step in and help out? Like all the little things come with that. Time is just different, and you have to adjust that. It helps you kind of realize just how selfish you can be without having a child. Even if you didn't think you were selfish, or others didn't think you were selfish, you go into parenting and you're like, I was selfish. Cut. I was doing things to better my time, better value my time, things like that, when you have to completely lose that idea or mindset and just be selfless as much as your energy or efforts can allow for. And that goes even deeper into one of the most challenging things the first 6 months is, especially without the consistency and schedule of sleep, is relearning your partner, learning how to tackle this situation, opportunity with your significant other. Lots of times it's doing things without being asked. That's a big one. What I've found to be true with us is to take the initiative of cleaning the bottles, packing his lunchbox, whatever, for the next day, without asking or being like, or making that decision for Emily. Because she's expressed so many times, she's like, I don't have the energy to make decisions for him, myself, and you. So like if I think it's time to feed him a snack, I just decide to have to feed him while also staying on the same page as my wife. That's the beauty of the hardship of parenthood. It is difficult to do that, but it allows for you to grow and develop love in a whole deeper kind of way. Yes, this last year with Emily has been a tough one as parents and lovers, essentially, just because our time and energy is so spent figuring out the rest of the world for a little brewman. That love grows so much deeper because you realize this is why I picked you. This is why you are mine and I am yours, because if I'm going to do this with anybody, it's going to be you. Getting yourself to that point of realization is a huge step in the process. Despite all the hardships, it is the greatest thing in the world. I told Emily this the other day. There are moments where it's a hard day. Like now that he's a year old and from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. it's just go on. He's moving, running, climbing. He needs food all the time. Like he's a machine right now that needs all of our attention and energy. Now in the midst of that, yes, there are those certain days where my time window kind of opened up to day by day now. And days are, you just know it's like we're having a tough day today. But there's little moments in each day that completely flip that switch. And even at the end of the day, after a long day spent with him, I'm like, man, that 3 seconds of a moment that we had together makes up for the entirety of the day of trying to, settle a baby. Like he was upset, crying, emotional, whatever. Learning emotions as a baby is so tough because you can't communicate with that baby. You can to a certain extent, but I can't explain to him why I can't let him go up the stairs all day long. I don't have the ability to do that. And if I let him go alone, he's going to tumble down and hurt himself. And you can't rationalize with a baby. That 12-month to 15-month window is very tough for that reason, for communication reason. But the little moments of where you find joy, the love that grows from those moments, I wouldn't give it up for the world. I want more of them. And I know each day, even if it's just seconds, I'm going to get that. Watching that, being a part of that, doing that with Emily, developing that relationship with Brew and Emily is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. That's a little taste I've got notes and all sorts of stories that we're going to follow this video up with, and in more videos to come. I'm going to sprinkle in parenting, just things that happened, good, bad, and things I wish I knew, all of the above. Just wanted you guys to know that was coming. So yeah, a little taste of that. Thank you for joining After Hours today. I hope you guys continue to have a kick-ass week, and think about those that you love. Tell them you love them. Do something special for them without them even knowing. But with that, I love you. I'm proud of you. Peace.